From keeping a talking anthropomorphic fish alive to scrubbing naked men in a public bathroom. Join us as we take a look at the 10 weirdest video games ever made.
Released in 1999, Seaman is a bizarre virtual pet simulator on the Sega Dreamcast. Players find themselves in a laboratory where they are responsible for several human-faced frog creatures known as Seaman. Through trial and error, you must discover how to care for these hybrid animals, find food, adjust the temperature, keep them hydrated, etc. The English version of the game is narrated by Leonard Nimoy. He plays a mentor figure that offers hints and tips as you work your way through the game. At the time of release, Seaman was considered quite innovative, as it was one of the only Dreamcast games to utilise the built-in microphone. Players can give basic voice inputs such as say the date of their birthday, and the Seaman would reply with trivia that occurred on that day in history. Seaman became the third best-selling game on Dreamcast in Japan as of 2004. It received mediocre review scores, and in 2008, Game Informer named it one of the top 10 weirdest video games of all time. Released in 2003, Katamari Damacy, which literally means clump soul, is a third-person action puzzle game oozing with quirkiness. It sees players traversing through a dreamlike landscape, snowballing objects together in an attempt to rebuild the universe. The main premise of the game is to roll a large, sticky ball around, collecting any and all objects in the world and gluing them to your ever-growing orb until it's large enough to turn into a star. The game came about as a school project funded by Namco's Digital Hollywood Game Laboratory. It was created for less than $1 million and went on to become a sleeper hit in North America. It won numerous awards, including Excellence in Game Design at the 2005 Game Developers' Choice Awards. Since then, no less than 8 sequels have been released in Japan and other countries. At last, a fighting game that pits flabby, half-naked Japanese men against each other. Released on Steam in 2016, Brief Karate Foolish is a 2D fighting game with a bizarre twist. All the characters are Asian men in their underwear. Fighting styles vary from character to character, from the studious moves of the half-naked student who fights with a book, to the hard-to-beat unorthodox moves of the fitness junkie who attacks with sit-ups and stretches. The buttons are a bit strange, but once you actually find the keys used to control, it plays much like other fighting games. It's all about light attacks, heavy attacks, ducking, jumping, and dirty shin kicks. It's free to play on Steam. Check it out if you need distracting one lazy afternoon. From half-naked sweaty men to Michael Jackson. Released for Sega Genesis in 1990, this very odd video game was based on the 1988 film Michael Jackson's Moonwalker. The level design features scenes from the movie, while the music draws on Jackson's rich back catalogue, redone in 16-bit glory. The aim of the game is to take out a villain known as Mr. Big. As you progress through the game, you're tasked with rescuing children trapped in cupboards. In hindsight, probably not the best gameplay mechanic to feature. Jackson has a bevy of attacks in his arsenal. He can kick, moonwalk, turn into a robot, throw hats, as well as use a special ability that makes all enemies perform a choreographed dance routine. The game received mixed reviews, some good, some bad. Mega Magazine ranked Michael Jackson's Moonwalker 91 on their best Mega Drive games of all time. Remember legendary 90s NBA star Shaquille O'Neal? Well, for some reason he made a shoddy 2D fighting game called Shaq Fu. Released in 1994 for Genesis and SNES, this bizarre game follows Shaq as he travels to Tokyo, Japan for a charity basketball game. On his way, he enters a dojo and speaks to a martial arts master called Liu Tzu. Inexplicably, Shaq is transported to another dimension where he must rescue a boy from the evil clutches of an Egyptian mummy. Shaq Fu is often considered one of the worst video games of all time. A sequel has been in the works since 2014. Speaking of blatant cash grabs from former NBA All-Stars, Michael Jordan also got in on the action in the same year. Published by EA in 1994 for SNES, Michael Jordan Chaos in the Windy City follows Jordan similarly as he heads to a charity basketball game. Instead of being transported to another dimension, the legendary basketballer is pitted against a mad scientist, Maximus Cranium, who has kidnapped the rest of the All-Star team. Gameplay is on par with other side-scrollers released around the same time. The aim of the game is to collect keys hidden around tediously designed levels to free your captive teammates. Jordan can jump and throw basketballs at enemies. Some balls have special attributes like ice, fire, and bomb, for example. As if the NBA licensing wasn't enough, there's also some choice product placements scattered throughout the game. Created in 2013, Mond Cards is a short story-based game that makes you question your sanity. It was produced by an indie developer by the name of Ryan Melmoth, who also created a Flappy Bird remake called Delirious Bird. At the beginning of the game, you're confronted by three strange characters: an eyeless bald man, a psychedelic elephant creature with spinning rainbow eyes, and a lizard man sporting a hot pink jockstrap. They challenge you to a game called Mond Cards. As you play, it becomes apparent that the rules to the game don't make sense, and that you'll soon be eternally in debt to this strange eyeless man. If you got a spare 25 minutes and fancy losing your marbles one sunny afternoon, you can find a link to the game in the description box below. A perennial favourite on YouTube Let's Plays, Goat Simulator is a third-person sandbox chaos simulator. The game came about as a joke during a game jam in early 2014. The devs put it together as a dare, and after releasing some alpha footage on YouTube, found they had a brewing hit on their hands. Players loved it so much, the creators were forced to build a fully fledged game that could be officially released to the public. The game's premise is simple: take control of a goat and cause as much mayhem as you possibly can. The creators have likened Goat Simulator to a skateboarding game, and as such features a scoring system that rewards players for performing tricks and stunts. So if you like goats and goat-related chaos, then this game is well worth a play. And if you don't like goats, then I'm not entirely sure what's wrong with you. Ever wanted to be the only human to attend a prestigious school for birds? Well, now you can with Hatoful Boyfriend. Originally released in Japan in 2011 as an interactive visual novel, it was remade in 2014 for Windows, PS4 and PS Vita. The protagonist of the game is a teenage human girl who is invited to a well-to-do bird-only school. She lives in a cave in the wilderness and before long finds herself amongst a complex avian community, full of love and intrigue. That's right, at its core, Hatoful Boyfriend is a bizarre dating sim. Players must interact with various birds and make choices that will change the course of the game and what love affairs play out. As the plot branches, players can enjoy up to 14 different endings based on the choices they've made throughout the game. So if you've ever wondered what it might be like to date a pigeon, then wonder no more. Hatoful Boyfriend will have you hooting and pecking and flapping your wings in a marvellous display of courtship in no time. Created in 2015 by eccentric indie developer Robert Yang, Rinse and Repeat is a first-person bathing simulator. Touted as the most technologically advanced male shower simulator in the history of video games, players take control of a fellow bather. You're tasked with washing anonymous men, moving the mouse up and down over their wet bodies in an effort to please them. According to Yang, the game is about feeling out of place and vulnerable as a male in public showers. For a game about washing naked men, a surprising amount of thought has gone into it, from the custom-engineered water shaders to its core ethos. This is a hilarious game and it's designed to be taken with a grain of salt. Whether you're repulsed or intrigued, this shower sim will get a rise out of you one way or another.
Well, that's the end of the episode. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, then why not hit subscribe? If you're a regular, make sure that bell button's clicked so you get all our channel updates. And that's it from me. I'll see you all next time.